The first time I saw him, everyone called him Sir, not his name. Not his title, just Sir, said with the kind of respect that makes people stand straighter and lower their voices. He was a Saudi businessman, tall, always dressed in linen, even under the brutal Philippine sun. And he owned a yacht so large, it made the harbor look like a bathtub. The yacht was docked off the coast, white and spotless, with polished rails and a crew that moved like clockwork. The plan was simple: a short celebration cruise before he flew back to Riyadh. Contracts were signed. Guests were invited. Cameras were ready. The sea was calm, blue, perfect. And yet, he refused to board. At first, everyone thought it was a negotiation tactic. Rich men sometimes did that: delay, assert control, remind everyone who held the power. The captain checked his watch again and again. The guests murmured, the crew whispered. But then, Sir stopped answering questions. He stood near the dock, staring at the horizon, sweat soaking through his shirt, his face pale beneath the tan. His eyes looked unfocused, like he was watching something far away that no one else could see. One of the foreign assistants leaned toward him. "Sir, we are already behind schedule." He didn't reply. That's when Mario noticed. Mario was one of the Filipino crew members, mid-30s, quiet, the kind of man who did his job so smoothly you forgot he was there until something went wrong. He had grown up near the sea, the son of a fisherman, and he'd learned early how the sun could betray you. Heat wasn't loud. It didn't announce itself. It crept in slowly, stole your strength, blurred your thoughts, and then knocked you down when you least expected it. Mario saw the signs immediately. The businessman's lips were dry. His breathing was shallow. His posture too rigid, like his body was trying to stay upright by force alone. Mario approached cautiously. You don't just walk up to powerful men and tell them something is wrong. But something told him this wasn't about power anymore. "Sir," Mario said softly, "may I ask if you're feeling okay?" The businessman turned his head slowly, as if it weighed too much. "I am fine," he said, but his voice was strained. "Not angry, just tired." Mario nodded. "Sir, I think you may be overheating. The sun today is very strong." The assistant frowned. "He's from Saudi Arabia. He's used to heat." Mario didn't argue. He just watched the man sway slightly, barely noticeable, but enough. "Heat is different here, sir," Mario said gently. "It's humid. It traps inside the body." The businessman blinked. "I feel dizzy." That single sentence changed everything. Mario didn't wait for permission. He guided the man to a shaded area near the dock, ignoring the shocked looks from the assistants. He had someone bring water, not ice cold, just cool. Just cool. He loosened the man's collar, asked him to sit, then lie down. "Sir, don't board the yacht yet," Mario said firmly. "You need to cool down first." The captain hesitated. "We're already late." "If he boards now," Mario interrupted, "he might collapse at sea." Silence followed. The businessman closed his eyes. "I feel like the ground is moving," he whispered. Mario placed a towel soaked in cool water on his neck and wrist pressure points he'd learned about from older seamen. He encouraged slow breathing. No panic, no rush. For 10 long minutes, the yacht sat idle. Guests grew restless. Phones buzzed. Schedules crumbled. But Mario stayed kneeling beside him, speaking softly in Filipino accented English. "You're safe, sir. Just breathe. The sun will not win today." Gradually, color returned to the man's face. His breathing steadied. His eyes opened with clarity again. He sat up slowly. "You saved me," he said quietly. Mario shook his head. "Just doing my job, sir." The businessman looked around at the yacht, the crew, the waiting sea, and then shook his head. "I am not boarding," he said. The assistants panicked. "Sir, you're fine now." "The event." "No," he said firmly. "Not without him." He pointed at Mario. Confusion rippled through the dock. "He will stay with me," the businessman continued. "If I board, he boards. If you rest, I rest." The captain opened his mouth to object, then closed it. The yacht didn't move that day. Instead, the guests were asked to wait. The businessman was escorted back to a shaded lounge near the marina. Mario was told to sit beside him, awkward and uncomfortable in a place far above his pay grade. "Tell me your name," the businessman said. "Mario, sir." "Mario," he repeated. "You noticed when no one else did." Mario shrugged. "I grew up in the sun." The businessman nodded slowly. "In my world, people notice money first. You notice life." That afternoon, the businessman canceled the cruise. The yacht remained docked. Some guests were annoyed. Others were confused, but none of that mattered. What mattered was that later that evening, when the sun finally dipped and the air cooled, the businessman stood by the rail of his yacht, looking out at the calm sea, Mario beside him. "I have crossed deserts," the businessman said. "I thought I understood heat. Today I learned humility." Mario smiled politely. "Philippine sun is very stubborn, sir." The businessman laughed for the first time. The next day, something unexpected happened. The businessman called a meeting not with investors, not with partners, but with the crew. All of them. He stood before them, no longer distant, no longer guarded. "Yesterday," he said, "I refused to board my yacht. Some of you may have thought it was pride. It was fear." The crew shifted uncomfortably. "I was close to collapse," he continued. "And one man saw it before I did." He gestured to Mario. Mario froze. "In my country," the businessman said, "we respect those who save lives. Today, I want you to know that I owe mine to him." The crew applauded, unsure if they were allowed to, but clapping anyway. Mario wanted to disappear. But the story didn't end there. Over the following days, the businessman insisted Mario be part of his personal crew, not as a servant, not as decoration, but as someone whose presence made him feel safe. They talked during meals. They shared stories. Mario spoke about fishing with his father, about storms that came without warning, about learning to read the sky. The businessman spoke about growing up wealthy but lonely, surrounded by power but rarely sincerity. "People tell me yes too easily," he said one night. "You told me no," Mario smiled. "Because sun doesn't care who you are." When the yacht finally sailed days later, it wasn't a grand party. No loud music, no champagne towers. Just the sea, quiet and respectful. The businessman stood on deck, feeling the breeze, and for the first time he felt small in a good way. As they returned to shore, he placed a hand on Mario's shoulder. "You will always have work with me," he said. "But more than that, you have my respect." Mario bowed slightly, unsure what to say. Weeks later, long after the yacht had left Philippine waters, the crew received news. Mario had been promoted, not because he asked, not because he demanded, but because one day, under a merciless sun, he chose to act when everyone else chose to wait. And somewhere out at sea, a Saudi businessman learned that sometimes the most powerful people in the world are the ones who know when to stop and listen to the man quietly trying to save them.